What's good, world? Welcome to another episode of KBK Present. I am one of your hosts, King Phenom. We are back fully staffed. Is it fully staffed? Or I kind of wanted to say something like that made it sound like a badass army or something.
It's fully staffed.
I mean,
if that's what you're going for.
Fully staffed would still go with an army. Well, it depends on what kind of army you're talking about.
Locked and loaded and ready to go. What are you looking for?
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have started this off.
Too late. We're here.
Now I know how serious felt when I caught him with the bitches in the first episode. I just feel so off guard now.
Well, what's going on, everybody? This is serious. What's going on, Brown? How you been?
I'm great. I am back from a lovely, lovely vacation at the beach. Shout out, everybody should go to Cape May. It's wonderful. It's really pretty. They have the best crab, bacon, and guacamole tacos at Key West Tacos. They were a little pricey, but you know what? It was so good. It was worth it. Also, they had like 5 million places to get ice cream.
And while she was gone, it was Attack of the Blurds.
Yeah.
I mean, like, blurred is still the funniest word I've ever heard.
Yeah, like, she was just like, is blur the actual thing? I was like, yes, look it up.
It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a black nerd.
I know what it is. I've just never heard. I'm old. I've never heard anybody call themselves a blurred. I've just heard black nerd.
Because it's just like, we follow, Blurred Vision on Instagram.
Oh, that guy's the greatest. Shout out to Blurred Vision.
Yeah, listen to the Blurred Vision podcast after you listen to ours. Yeah, he just got some free endorsement.
Shameless plugs.
Pretty much.
For other people, though, you need to be plugging yourself and only yourself for now. We'll come back to everybody else we like later.
Man, I'm trying to network. Like, he might be like, oh, man, these guys gave me a quick shout-out.
That is true. It does
they brought
happen.
People my way. You know what? I'm going to give them a quick shout-out. Go listen to KBK Presents.
Can I, shout out all the ice cream places I like in hopes that they'll give me some free ice cream in return?
Is it like over 50 of them, like you said?
I mean, no. It's probably just one right now.
Just one? All right. We'll give you the one.
It's just one. Jenny's ice cream, man. It's a little pricey.
We're going to find her in a sugar coma.
It's, you know what it is? It's this whole trying to be healthy thing where you're not denying yourself, but you're limiting the amount of sugar you have, and it's just a hard break. Also, I'm not going to lie. I could be eating whatever, the healthiest food ever, and I always go for ice cream. I'm always up for ice cream.
I feel you. I've been doing the healthy thing lately, cutting out my starch, rice, like all that other stuff, just like protein, vegetables. And I just like, oh man, do I just really want to go eat a pizza? Like they bought pizza in one day at work, and I just smelt it. I was like,
see, I don't have that. I have the sweet. I just want ice cream.
I'm opposite. I'm not really a sweets person. Like the way people are just like, oh, cookies, brownies, cake, ice cream. That really doesn't, I'm like, someone can make a cake at a family get-together. It's like, nah, I don't need no cake.
I'm very seasonal based with my foods, so it's summer. So I believe in ice cream in the summer.
Oh, nah, I've never been a sweets person. If I do get taken over by my urge for something sweet, it's only one thing, and that's almond M&Ms.
That's your weak spot?
That's what I like almonds, and I like M&Ms, so put them together. I don't like peanut M&Ms. I feel like when I try to break the outer shell of the M&M, then just to eat the peanut, that the fucking peanut's too soft. I like something crunchy. Therefore, I like the almonds.
This is a sidebar like you would not believe. Aren't we starting with something else besides food today? My bad for taking us off track.
We had to get into something serious.
I was just loving listening to y'all. I'm proud of y'all, man, because I've also tried this whole eating healthy, and I can't tell you how many times I've said it. Sounds good when you say it.
Well, my benefit is I pretty much just buy the vegetables and tell my wife to cook it. Or I'll go to my mother's like, hey, so if I got X, Y, Z, how long would it take you to cook it?
Lazy. Just lazy.
I'm not lazy.
To be fair, though, I think it's more about just moderation.
Mm.
It's like this weekend was a family weekend, so I clearly indulged as everything in my body will tell you. I ate a lot of junk, more junk than I have had.
And I'm proud.
Months.
I stayed strong over the holiday weekend.
See, I was actually doing really good because I hadn't had, prior to my birthday last month, I hadn't had ice cream in months or many sweets in months, and then. Yeah, I lost control because it was just there.
It's a waste. I just threw away Are
you
mint
lactose
chocolate chip ice
intolerant?
cream. No, I just don't get the urge for sweets like I used to. I think I just grew out of it. Like I just threw away.
You also
a
don't eat fruit
container
though, so
of-
I don't trust you.
I just threw away a container of mint chocolate chip ice cream that literally I've had since before I moved into my house, and I moved into my house in October.
Yeah, you just saved yourself from food poisoning, but like I said, you also don't like a lot of fruit, so I'm not certain your taste
it's
buds are
not a-
all there.
I don't like the texture of a lot of fruit.
I'm not a huge fan of like ice cream either. But see, I'm actually lactose intolerant. But
Yeah, so you have a valid
I'll
reason.
still eat it though. I just make sure my
I haven't
schedule's
met-
cleared for the day.
I haven't
So
met
I'm
an
not doing
ice.
anything
I
else
haven't met
today,
an ice
so.
cream yet that'll kill me, but I have met a milkshake at Potbelly's that'll destroy my stomach every time.
I'm telling you, Jenny's ice cream, because it's grass fed milk and all of that good stuff. It is life changing. Now, granted, if you buy it at Whole Foods or Wegmans, it's $10 a pint, but it's worth it like you would not believe. And it's one of the few ice creams I've noticed where, because they say as you age, you actually lose the ability to digest milk and dairy and break it down in the proper way, especially in the form of milkshakes and ice cream. Jenny's is
Oh,
one of
so I'm
those
just
few.
old, okay.
Yeah, you're just old. Jenny's one of those few that I actually have no problem with, and she has the best flavors.
So there you have it, people. If you just want to send stuff in to show your appreciation,
Please
for your
send me
local
some ice cream.
podcasters,
Holy
send Eric-
crap! I would like.
Send Brown some ice cream. Send Phenom some almond M&Ms.
Don't send me anything. I'm having
Send him
hard
some
enough
money.
time-
Don't send him
hard
food.
enough time as is. Don't send me any food.
Send him money, no food.
Send Sirius a Target gift card so he can buy whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, those are always nice.
All right, but anyway, so we actually do have some topics we want to talk about. We're not just going to be foodies right now.
I mean, but we could totally like save that for later.
I
We'll
mean,
bring
we-
that back.
Bring it back. It's gonna be like, so yeah, about that ice cream, right? But no, so first topic of the day that I wanted to get into was something that's been on the news that I've seen on CNN for like the last 2 days, and I'm sick of it. Roseanne, they got her the fuck out of here.
I don't know why they brought her back.
I don't know why they brought it back either.
Because
Well, okay, I know why they brought it back.
revivals are the
Nostalgia.
thing. Yeah, that's where the money is right now. It for
I guess so.
networks, that's what it is. It's nostalgia. Whether you're taking a show that was popular and bringing it back, or rebooting it, or whether you're taking a movie and
But you
trying
know,
to turn it into a
Not
TV
everything
show.
stands the test of time.
Oh no, it doesn't.
And Roseanne, not that. I mean, I don't know. Did either of you ever watch the original?
No.
In passing.
Mine was usually like, oh, I'm homesick from school, and it's on TBS early in the
Yeah,
morning.
like that. Yeah.
But the few times I caught it, the Roseanne that's portrayed on that show is not the lady who's on Twitter with her crazy as hell conspiracy theories.
Look,
Like
man,
batshit insane.
it's not her fault. All right.
Oh, that's right.
The Ambien made her do it.
Huh. Ambien makes you racist?
You didn't see that? You never saw the bottle where it says caution may cause
It may cause racism.
may cause
You know what? They on
may
the
cause
commercial.
racism, anal leakage.
I was gonna say the commercial tells me it's gonna cause a whole bunch of other things. You can start ironing while sleeping or eating while sleeping. A lot of people eat like their entire refrigerator on Ambien.
Oh my God. Okay, so look. Side note. All right. So
Back to food again? Please don't say we're going back
now
to
that
food
she
again.
brings that up, all right. So
We're back on
So we're going back
Ambien.
to food again.
So I don't take Ambien, but I have a really bad problem sleep eating. It's really bad. Like if there's anything in
You might
arm's
want to take
reach,
Ambien
I'm-
to stop the sleep eating,
Is that what
but
it
it
is?
will also make you a racist. So you have to decide if that's a risk you're willing to take.
Hey. I firmly believe due to the color of our skin, we can't be racist.
I mean, no, of
So
course
problem
not.
solved? So
Reverse
I should be
racism is
good
not
to
a
take
thing.
the
Yeah,
Ambien.
I mean, you can spew out some stereotypes and be a little bigoted, but I will never say
Yes,
you're racist.
but reverse racism is not a thing. Sorry, white people, it's just not a thing.
We're not in a position of power to be racist. So
Nope, nor have we
To deny
subjugated you for
anything
thousands of
based
years.
off of your skin color. No, we're not in that position at all.
No, because they call the cops on us. But like, I get why they brought her show back. I do. Like you said, nostalgia sells, and she was, I guess, a Flashpoint kind of character because she was kind of revolutionary. She was a woman. She was in charge of her own show. She carried a lot of that show. She did great. She won a bunch of
she
awards
was
for
Middle
it, I believe.
America's mom.
She was.
That's what it was. The show
And not even
represented
Middle
that
America because
family.
they were just above like
I mean, yeah, not middle
poor
America.
America.
Yeah, not,
poor white America.
well, I would say low middle
Yes.
America or high.
She was definitely
low
like,
class.
up until they won like the lottery in one season, I think they did. She was like low.
I think that was like the last season or
Yeah.
something like that.
And they suddenly were really, really wealthy.
yeah.
It didn't even happen. Wait, did they win? I don't remember. All I remember
They
is
did,
like at
and
the
then he
end
died,
they said
but then
at the
they
end they
didn't
said
die.
it was all like a dream or something like that.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
Well, they say that by the end of it, she was writing a book.
Yeah.
So everything that you saw
in like the last
the
season.
last season was
like all her
how
book.
she wanted things to go, and it was
Okay.
in her book.
So, like, I get it. I get that she spoke to a certain segment of people at that time, so they brought it back in hopes that she would do that again. But, like, if anybody has been on social media in the past 5 years, you have clearly seen that this woman is not all there. I don't know if they say she might have had a traumatic brain injury when she was younger. Maybe its side effects are finally catching up with her. I don't know, but she's been racist. That tweet that she made comparing Valerie Jarrett to an ape, she made it with Susan Rice about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I saw like something about
This
big,
isn't
something
new.
about big 8 balls or something
This
like that.
isn't new. This is her shtick.
See,
So
I don't get on social
what's
media
the
not to know
surprise?
that.
All this outrage all of a sudden? You knew who you were getting. They made her children lock her Twitter.
Damn.
They changed the password. She was told not to be online in that capacity that she has been because ABC knew that she was trouble.
Damn, Tom Arnold got out alive.
Oh, he was on that, wasn't he?
No, he was a real life
Yeah,
husband.
he was married to her.
They was mad.
They were
Yeah,
married.
because like it was like either the beginning or like toward or like the middle of the show. It used to say Roseanne Arnold.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
And then when she got a divorce, it went back to Roseanne Barr.
Oh wow.
Like I never watched the show that much, but I do actually recall that.
Was he married to her when she did that horrible national anthem, that disrespectful national anthem? I wonder why that's not something that, is considered disrespectful to the nation.
When she made a complete mockery. Have you
And she
heard it,
spit.
you know?
Yeah,
I heard it.
she spit.
If I kneeled during that, could I just get away with saying that I was just praying that it would end?
Probably. But
I'm like, no, I'm not disrespecting the flag. It's just my ears were hurting, and I was praying to God that the song could stop because I just want my ears to go back to normal. I can't.
Okay, so So we all in agreement that we're going to say that Roseanne is racist.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
All right.
If it's short and named Roseanne Barr, yes.
So, isn't she a comedian though?
You can be a comedian, and you can be a comedian. You can sometimes make those borderline edgy type of racism jokes when you're in a certain environment. But no, she just straight up. There was nothing funny about she took two things that is always going to stir the pot with a certain race, and she just went at it.
That's what comedians
she didn't
do.
even.
I mean, wait, but if your comedy has to rely on mocking somebody's ethnicity or religious beliefs, and in a mean-spirited way, are you really funny or are you just an asshole?
I don't know. Let's ask Bill Maher.
And guess what I think of him?
Do you think he's a racist? I adore.
All I
Bill
know
Maher.
is-
love
I
Bill
know
I'm not
is-
Maher.
saying he's a racist. I'm saying I think Bill Maher uses his comedy, quote-unquote comedy, as a way to cross a lot of lines that maybe other white people would get flack for. And we overlook...
Well, no, he gets all the flack.
I feel like
but
a
he's
lot.
still got a show.
I feel like a lot of comedians
He's
in
still got a
general
job.
do actually do
At
that.
one time, he didn't. He got fired at one time from the same company that fired Roseanne, and he just he's white, so he found lightning in a bottle somewhere else. That happens when you're white.
I mean,
Might not happen to her.
my personal belief is...
it might happen to Roseanne. Who knows? A few years, it
She
might blow over.
technically, I believe she still owns the rights to the actual show.
So what's gonna happen is in 2 years, Fox is gonna bring it back like they
Two?
did.
You giving it 2? I'm giving it 6 months.
6 months, Roseanne.
I'm
gonna be
giving
back?
it fall.
Nah, I ain't giving it
She gonna
fall.
be back for the.
She gonna have her own show. Something new.
Aaron right next to Last Man Standing.
Definitely. Which it's so disappointing that Tim Allen is the way he is because, man, my little Toy Story loving heart and my Santa Claus loving heart, why'd you have to ruin the good thing, the childhood? You couldn't just keep that stuff quiet.
So, truth be told, I don't know what Tim Allen talks about or what he does.
He's a deeply Republican white man, and there's lots of comments
I was
about
gonna
how
say it's a
he
lot of
feels that
Republicans.
that as a white male Republican. He's his rights are being stripped left, right, and center.
Oh yeah,
he says that on the show.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen every episode of Last Man Standing. So yes, he does that every episode. I just was like, it's Tim Allen.
He's one of those people who believes that white men are now an endangered species in the U.S.
Like almost every episode, he somehow found a way to take a shot at Obama.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
one of those. Which, like...
Bad part is it still wasn't that... If you take that out, it wasn't that bad of a show.
Well, and he had that show before that where he was not Last Man Standing. He had another show before Last Man Standing where he wasn't...
All I remember is Home Improvement.
Yeah, no, there was something else briefly, and maybe I'm confusing him with someone
Quick,
else.
Google time.
But I'm on it.
Cool, because I didn't want to be typing on my keyboard and all you hear in the podcast is click, click, clack, clack. But we'll figure it. But while Sirius does that, you can get back to your point.
I just think if you're, as a comedian, my brand of comedy that I enjoy is the one where you don't take pot shots at things that are beyond people's control. You're being Muslim for Muslims. It's much like being Jewish. It's an ethnicity and a religion. I understand, and I might be wrong. So please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. Nicely though, please. But like, or the color of somebody's skin. And her excuse was that she didn't know Valerie was black. She looks like her family. So because you couldn't visibly tell she was black, that makes it okay? Are you kidding me? No. So if your comedy...
because you visibly couldn't tell she was black, you decided to call her a monkey.
For me, I think if your comedy relies on taking pot shots and things like that, you're not really funny, you're just an asshole. There's a million comedians. They're on Netflix, they're on whatever else, HBO, that do comedy, and they do it well, and that's not their shtick. You can watch John Mulaney.
I need that every once in a while. I'm sorry. It's just in this day and age of political correctness where everyone's telling you that everything you think and say can be wrong.
Here's the thing. I have an issue with people.
Something.
Every time somebody tells me that they don't like political correctness, what I hear is that you don't like that you can't be an asshole to people.
Yes, I don't like that I can't be an asshole.
But you can be an asshole without talking about somebody's religion.
You can, but as someone told me, if someone's entitled to their opinion and they want to say
everybody's entitled to your opinion, but you are also entitled to the repercussions that come with it.
So like, there was a certain situation in which I told you I didn't like the way someone that you know keeps saying certain shit, and you're just like, oh, that's just the way they are. Then guess what? If I want to say some shit and you don't like it, that's just the way it is. Like, and the point is, you can tell me.
And I told you are well within your rights to ask that person about it.
You can tell me you don't like it, and I can listen to you, and I can respect that you don't like it, but then I can tell you, well, if you don't want to hear it, then by all means, get the fuck away from me.
But I just think that...
Like, you don't like the fact that some of these comedians are still doing what they're doing and selling out shows and doing stuff. It shows you that there's always going to be something.
But then think of who, when you later on wonder why people like Donald Trump became president. Think of who these people are going to see. Think of who they're being represented by in the media. Roseanne, Tim Allen. People who, they're using, it's a joke. It's just a joke that all Mexicans are dirty, rotten beaners who bring their disease and their drugs across the border. It's just a joke that all black men are thugs and racist and are rapists, thugs and rapists, and that they're monsters on the inside. It's funny until it's about you.
Sometimes yes, but sometimes that's not true. No, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes you are no. Sometimes people do. I don't say much.
It's just a joke.
No. This is where I'm going to take over for a second because
Can you just wave his hands?
Yeah, because I'm sorry. I've shut up a couple episodes on stuff. So I'm going to say this right now.
You're welcome to.
I'm going to say this right now. Sometimes, yes, that shit is funny. Sometimes you do like just seeing someone be an asshole. And here's
the other thing.
And if that person can, and if you know that that's not how that person is outside of their jokes, that's different. Now, if you're over here saying you have this person, that person, this person spitting their rhetoric, if that's all the rhetoric they're spitting at all, then yes, that person should be reprimanded. But if you see someone, nice dude, hang out with him all the time, doesn't really do anything, and every once in a while in their sets they have certain jokes, that's just him kind of saying, hey, I know there are some people in here that, sometimes they feel like they might think something and other people look at them a certain way or other people think they're wrong. For a second, I'm just going to give you a little reprieve and I'm just going to shoot the shit.
Yeah, they know that when they say these jokes, they know they're going to get under people's skin. Like, this joke is for those people
I
who
guess
don't like this joke.
I guess my issue is that I just feel like there's a way to be funny without doing that. And there's a way to be...
I mean, there's a way of doing everything without doing things a certain way. Like, but it's just different. There's different lanes, though, of comedy.
I also think that given the current state of the world and state of our media, maybe there's nothing wrong with those people maybe holding those jokes back for a little while.
Because inside of your own private show where people are paying to see you, people are paying to see you because they know how you are. They've heard what you do. Yeah. So they already know what they're in for.
But then, why are we talking about it then?
We're not talking about what someone has done on the inside of their own private shows. There are plenty of comedians out there.
It is her show.
I'm talking about their own private. I'm talking about their own private comedy sets. That's what I'm talking about, because we're talking about comedians for a second. I'm not talking about those comedians who are also actors and directors and all this other stuff. I'm just talking about straight comedy. There are different lanes for all comedians. You have physical humor. You have dark humor. You have what people will call the politically incorrect humor. You have the, I'm just going to be nice and not do stuff, and not try to offend anyone humor. There's different lanes. Different people like different things.
And I get that.
If you're doing it a certain way, people are coming at you, and you're showing the exact same attitude outside of your shows or outside of your sets, that's one thing.
Let me sidebar and ask you this, and taking it away from the comedians, just in general, because you're making the argument that what people say in jest isn't always who they are in real life, correct?
Right. Yes, what I'm saying is, yes, they're comedians, they're writers.
Much like if I'm showing you one face, you're telling me if I show you one face, it's not the only way I am.
Exactly. They always say first impressions are last forever, but you also do go out your way to try to make other impressions if you think people think negatively of you.
In my brain, this is the next step I go to. It's kind of like how somebody will say, well, he couldn't possibly be a rapist because he's never tried to assault me. Or he couldn't possibly be a racist. That's
always going to be the number one problem, because people are always going to take an inch and take it to a mile. I could say, this is the nicest person in the world I've ever met. And you could turn around and say, really? Because he looks like he wants to cut people up and hang them up.
I'm not saying looks like. I'm saying you're saying that this is what they're showing you, one facet of their personality.
But what you're saying is...
So I'm asking, what's the difference? I'm not saying anything. I'm asking what's the difference between... It's much like Donald Trump. Everybody argues this is a joke.
The difference is you need to see all the facts. You're over here saying, this person doesn't seem like someone who will rape me. But if the facts come out showing you that the person has a history of assaulting women, then yes, you should judge the person off of that. But if you're just saying, I saw this person do this one stand-up and they made this one joke that seemed a little racist, I don't like, but then everything you see out there opposed to that is them always spending their time out in the community, doing outreach, doing things, doing like public events to try to like talk to different people with different races or doing things, then you might be like, maybe that was just a joke to stir the pot a little bit, and that is a good person.
So should I give Donald Trump a chance? Because that's what everybody says about him.
He's already had a history of showing. No, because he's already had a history of showing how he is all around. Mm-hmm. That's different.
But everybody says it's a joke. He's joking when he makes fun of
Everyone says it's a joke. He's joking, reporter. But the thing is, he's been doing this in the public all the time. I was specifically talking about comedians. I'm talking about what they do for their shows, the sets that they write. I got what you're
specifically talking about. I'm just
Donald Trump doesn't go around intentionally writing his jokes. He doesn't have a piece of paper where he's just this is what I'm going to say today.
His big scribble scrabble handwriting, it might be jokes on there. You haven't seen his paperwork.
I haven't seen his paperwork, but you know what? I highly doubt that fool walks around with
you don't know. He might just have an app. It reads his tweets to him, his funny jokes to him. I don't know.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I mean, I understand what Phenom's saying. You have to consider everything about that person before you really make a judgment call on that person. Mm-hmm. So what they show on stage may not be what they show, in real life. Because again, they're on stage, they're entertaining. So they're saying jokes that's going to entertain not just this whole crowd of people, but only these people might get this joke. These people might get offended. You know what I mean? So it's like but overall, they're doing it in the mindset of being entertaining.
To everyone.
To everyone, right.
But Roseanne's argument is that she is being, and not this current tweet, but in general, she is entertaining people.
Once again, I'm
Well,
not
her
defending.
argument
I'm not
is
defending.
that she's
I'm not
on
defending.
No. I mean, not
that's
this
her
tweet.
Once
Her
again,
other,
I was
her
never.
other tweets.
I was never defending Roseanne because.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm trying.
Oh.
I'm trying to bring us back on topic.
Yes, with her.
God.
Like I said, she's had multiple chances. She's been in the spotlight and off the spot and out. And
She
when she's
said
out of
that
the
quite a
spotlight,
few of
she's
them
doing
are
stupid shit.
jokes. She said that she hasn't meant them. She's meant them in jest. They haven't been serious. So I guess, and again, I have always. And this is just me personally. I take people at their Jumanji's happening in this house. I take people at their
Face value.
at their like face value.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of those people, and I don't know if it's just luck or intuition, but usually what people show me from the get-go, yeah, I know who you are after that. I've had a lot of instances where I'm like, that person's not okay. You know, and I both know somebody who, that person, I was like, that person is crazy. That person is crazy. I'm going to be polite to her because we work together, but she's crazy. And I would tell you she was crazy. My mind ain't got nothing to do with
my penis. That's all I have to say.
But I would tell you she was crazy.
Kanye told me that a long time ago.
And it was very much a mindset of, I knew this was not all okay. So I take people.
Is this a story? What's happening?
Let's just say
Cliff notes, come on.
Let's just say Brian and I both used to work for a rather large
telecommunications company.
Yes, telecommunications company, and there was a particular female there that I fancied, and
what are you from 1849?
Yes,
I fancied.
Yes, I fancied her,
and I wanted to court her.
Yes, I was exactly
asked permission and everything.
Like I showed up all dapper and everything, but long story short.
She was crazy.
She was crazy. She
was,
told me she was crazy.
What made
her?
Everybody told me she was crazy.
What made her crazy?
So, as we became friends, and it was literally just being friends, there was very much this mindset of like, I was creeping in on some property that she owned, and she would ask the weirdest questions. Like, what are you guys doing? Where are you guys going? He literally just gave me a ride to the bus stop.
I was like, when I was trying to talk to her, before I even met Brown, even when I was just hanging out with like some of the female coworkers, and we go out and hang out, and stuff gets a little wild, but you don't cross a certain line.
Yeah,
and they just
not with those coworkers. You would have had a disease.
They making me sound like they was trying to make me sound like I was like some type of man whore.
Oh, you was a man on campus, huh?
And then
you was that guy.
And then Brown came around, and then everyone's just like, "Oh, your attention's on her." It's like, no, like we just have so much in common. We like similar things. We listen to similar music. It's
also, I didn't drive at the time, so like, I needed a ride, and he would give me rides because he was a nice human being, and I was a sad person. So like. You didn't have to co-sign that one. So, but it was like a thing, like, oh, he gave her a ride, and she was crazy, and I knew from like first meeting
to make it even better.
Not all there.
So she's crazy, but at the time when I was trying to talk to said person, I believe that she was, because she had claimed she just moved down here. I believe that she was rooming with another colleague and that colleague's boyfriend.
Like a colleague from work?
Yes, a female colleague. Come to find out, a month later,
lies lived on a throne of lies.
That colleague, not only did she quit Comcast, it was Comcast.
Spoiler alert.
Not only did she quit, but she moved out of the apartment. So it was and broke up with the dude. So it was literally her and
this guy.
This guy in a 1-bedroom apartment. And all she kept telling me was, "Oh, I sleep on the couch. We don't." And I'm like,
his dumb behind believed that.
I didn't believe it. I was like, why would I believe you sleep on the couch? The couch never looks dirty. It never looks like anyone slept on it, because I've only been inside her apartment like 3 times. I was like, your couch doesn't I slept on a couch. I know what sleeping on the couch looks like. You're not going to take your time to fold your blankets. No, because you coming right back to that couch when you get off fucking work. Like, who you kidding?
So they were sleeping together.
I mean,
Yes.
obviously, she was a nut job though, because she was crazy and
I
she was all
mean-
on this. Oh my God, you're trying to steal something, girl, homegirl. I
even
never
maybe-
was.
Maybe
Like even
it
after she
was
got knocked
strictly
up, she
platonic,
like
and they
even after
just
she
used
got
the
knocked
bed.
up, she was still trying to find ways to like, oh, we could have been something.
Oh,
but
she
you
got
only,
pregnant?
yeah, she's like,
by the
yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't platonic.
But case in point, I'm one of those people who takes people at their face value. What you show me is what I'm gonna go on.
And I'm one of those people where unless you're really, really, really offensive to me, I'm willing to give you another chance
And
just
see, I wonder
because
if that's a
sometimes people
difference.
make bad impressions.
I wonder
I'm
if that's
like
a
that
gender
too.
difference though, because as I
Why? Because
think
you fear that someone might turn you
Well, no,
into
in
wind
general-
chimes,
in
and I'm
general,
just like,
women-
you try that with me,
well, no,
I'm fucking you up.
because in general, women don't have the option of saying, "Oh, I'm going to give you off the street." You know, people they meet right away that they don't meet in some sort of social situation with other people or work where they feel a little safe. I don't really have the option of saying, "I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt," because the benefit of the doubt could be, yes, you make my bones into wind chimes and my body into my skin into a lamp. So maybe that's a gender difference too. Whereas
Well, I
I'm-
mean, the environment would play
Yeah.
a difference.
I mean,
too.
but
'Cause,
I-
like if it's out on the street, you're not going to take.
I
the
mean, but even
time
at work, there was
to-
even my when I worked for the emergency dispatcher, there was clearly a coworker who my
Is that the one that I knew too?
no
Okay.
there was a coworker though who she gave me a look one day, and I was like to my friend, I was like, look, I know that she side-eyed me and I don't like her, and she goes, no, you're crazy. Come to find out, after a while, we were like, oh, this girl's crazy. She side-eyed. And I said, see, I told you from that first side-eye, something's wrong. I just have really good senses and intuition. That sounds like a
Because
brag.
crazy acknowledge crazy. That's the question.
I'm not crazy. There's a difference between truly...
If you can see the face I'm giving her right now, people,
There's a difference. Look, I'm not even going to lie.
I'll
There's
acknowledge there's different levels
There's
of crazy.
different levels, and
But
I'm
just
not
being on
crazy.
any type of crazy spectrum make it easier to spot
Excuse me,
crazy.
my crazy has a medical term.
That's why I said. That's
So
why I
it's
said
not
spectrum.
that kind of crazy.
That's why I
Hers
said-
was just
That's why I said spectrum.
Hers was just, she a nut job. But yeah, no, I take people at face value. So if you show me, if your jokes are all jokes about people's race and or raping women or whatever, or murdering children or whatever, I'm gonna take you as.
Well, if
I'm not
that's what
here
your
for
Oh
that.
yeah,
show's about,
that's
you're
all
not
you're.
gonna
That's
keep
all
me
you're
in.
saying. Yes.
Yeah.
If you have other jokes, I'm
This
just like,
isn't comedy at all. What this is.
But I mean, if that's a portion of your show, for me, that's a clear. No, I'm gonna take a step back because you're not okay. I can't. But
I don't know.
again, that's.
I can't say that because I watch and I listen to a lot of comedians where they test that line.
I mean,
and like
right
I said, if it okay, so
There's
like,
even
that's
some
just what some of them love to
There's
do.
even some podcasts I listen to where I'm like, you're fucking racist, but you're telling me a good story, and I really don't want to listen. Like, there was literally one where he kept saying the N-word, and his excuse was that he was from another country, and I was like, but you're talking about Americans, and you know that this is not okay. And I had to turn it off. And I keep hitting the table. I'm really sorry about that.
say you don't have a stand like ours. So
I know, this is irritating. My hands like to move. But like,
Just do
yeah,
what I do.
even
Do
if he
this.
wasn't being a
Do
racist,
Birdman.
that's what you're telling me. Your first thing is to drop that word when talking about black people. Oh, okay, no, we're click, delete, goodbye. That's how I feel.
I mean,
Well, I feel like
everyone has their preferences. I can't.
And I do.
I can't knock you for yours.
But
It's
I mean,
just,
we've talked.
for me sometimes.
we've also
I just
discussed
enjoy
a lot.
crude humor.
I don't.
yeah.
No, and I don't get me wrong. There's a difference in my mind between. Usually, crude for me comes in like sexual and body humor.
Yeah. See,
So there's a different
my
understanding.
crude is pretty much just anything that most people would say just isn't appropriate.
But we've also talked a lot about how I don't watch certain things because they make me uncomfortable or upset, or like I will never watch anything where a dog dies. I'm sorry. John Wick almost lost me, man. Like almost lost me, and that's not a spoiler. This movie's been out for like
But he
6
was
years.
double
At this
tapping in
point.
the head. Pew, pew.
Yes, but then
That
the
means he
dog.
almost lost you in the first.
He really
5
did.
minutes
You
of
don't
the movie.
understand. I had to actually pause the first movie. I paused it for like 3 days, and I went online and I finally.
Did you just skip that scene?
No, I went to Does the Dog Die and online, and I found out that the dog, It's okay.
Wait, there's an actual site that tells you if the
Yes,
dog dies.
does the dog die?
God, people just make
Well,
sites
you got
for
the
anything.
Yahoo Answers and stuff
Yes.
like that. Like, you know.
But it's called Does the Dog Die?
No, really?
Yes.
Oh god.
So I'm gonna find it. Hold on. But I went there and I was like, oh no, this is what happens. And I was like, okay, I can make it through. I can do this. So
You're like www.arethécrueltoanimals.net.
seriously, no, that's one of the things I look for. Like, there are certain movies I don't watch. I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave.
I mean, I haven't
I
seen
haven't
it either.
seen that either. That's just a timing thing
But
for me, though.
Mine
Like,
is
that's
just I don't need to. Again, it goes along with my issues with
Is that
This Is
before or after
America.
Django?
Oh, okay.
If it was-
That
I've
was,
seen Django
I say
surprisingly.
if it was
But
after,
it also
I would say if it
really
was
made me
after Django, that's
uncomfortable.
probably why I didn't
That's
want to see it.
okay.
Django uplifted me a little
Get out
bit.
of here.
Yeah, no, I've seen Django, but even that, there were moments where I was very uncomfortable. I don't
Yeah,
need
but
to
then
see.
you can't lie. There are moments when you were smiling when he had that gun in his hand.
No, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but there was definitely moments where I was just like, Whereas 12 Years a Slave is just like
Yeah, I ain't
torture
trying-
porn to me.
I ain't trying to watch that.
I don't need to keep seeing it. I saw Roots at a very early age. I was done with seeing black people
Man.
get beat.
Now, as powerful as the movie as Roots is, like, that's not the movie that, like, did it for me. It was Rosewood for me.
I've never seen Rosewood.
Y'all have never seen Rosewood?
No.
Oh, that's a trigger movie for me, yo. Like, when you watch it, you will automatically, no matter how strong you think, no, I can get it. No. Rosewood will trigger you automatically till you're like, I'm going to punch the next white person in the face. Like, the next white person I see, it could be a kid. It doesn't matter. The next white person I see, I'm just going to punch him in the face. That's what Rosewood would do to you. You could be the most peaceful man. You can have Gandhi-like presence. After watching Rosewood as a black man, as a black woman, you're like, yep. And you'll totally justify it to yourself. Yeah, I'm going to punch the next white person I see.
Speaking of, as black people, and speaking of being triggered by things, I just have to ask while we're sailing into the next topic, how did y'all feel? What was it, Wednesday or Tuesday, when Pusha T came out with that diss track to Drake, and the picture of it was him in blackface?
Like everybody else on the internet, and before and after the internet exploded, I heard the track, and
That track was disrespectful.
that was mad disrespectful.
Like it might have like I'll say this. I'll say that Drake's little diss track, it definitely had better bars, but I'm sorry. Pusha was just disrespectful.
Yeah, he came with the dirt. He came with the tea. That's
What,
what
Drake
happened.
responding in or
He came
something?
with the tea.
No. I was
Rosewood.
something
You
else.
looked at Rosewood?
Yeah, I forgot. When you kept saying Rosewood, it's based on
sorry.
the Florida massacre. I know the true
Like
story.
Brown looked at her phone and then
Sorry.
she looked all shocked, and I'm trying to figure out
No,
what
I
happened.
know because I know the true story that happened in Florida. It's a history podcast. Stuff You Missed in History has a whole episode on it, which is deeply upsetting. So yes, I can understand why you watch that movie and your first thoughts are, I'll punch the next white person I see, because I listened to that podcast episode, and Stuff You Missed in History is done by like two white women, and it's they're very calm and chill, but even then you can kind of hear some anger in their voice at this.
Yeah.
And I was angry. I had to like stop the car. I was angry. As for Drake in blackface,
Nice.
Nice transition.
Right? I tried. I didn't listen to the song. I didn't listen to Drake's original diss. I didn't hear the response.
Dumpy.
don't know.
That's what it's called.
That's Jamaican ghost. Well, not a Jamaican ghost, but that's what Jamaicans call ghost.
Oh, fun.
Dubbies.
Learn something new every day.
Well, yeah, you know.
But like,
That doesn't
I-
sound scary.
I mean, I guess
Like,
it
don't
depends
go
on
in
the
that house.
context.
There's a dumpy in there. It's like, what? That just sounds like you're saying
Maybe
someone
it's
taking
with
a
the
dump in
accent
there.
though. But as for Drake's blackface, I mean, I don't see, because then you get into one could speculate how come it was okay when Childish Gambino did his Sambo dance in This Is America, and everybody was like, oh look, he's hearkening back to the stereotypes. But then all of a sudden Drake says, and this is just going on his statement, that he was trying to make a commentary on black actors in America and how they're seen, and it's an issue. Is it because the shade of black that he is?
I feel like part of it.
Give me a second, because I feel like you're attacking my childish again.
I'm not. No, I'm actually no. I'm making a point though, because like I got what he was doing when he did his Sambo dance. I totally understood what he was doing. It was part of the whole distraction thing. But if Drake is saying that his blackface, and again this is based on his statement, is along those same lines, why is the response different? So, and is it, like I said, is it the shade of black he is? Is it because he is biracial?
I'm not going to say that's completely the reason. What I'm going to say is the difference is Childish controlled the narrative. This was something that Childish put out for the world to see. And so when people asked him questions about it, he was ready.
But it's been on the guy's website for a while.
It's been on the guy's website.
So it wasn't like Drake was hiding it. It just... He did it. If you look at how old he is, I think he was on Degrassi when he did that.
Yeah, this was 2007.
It wasn't like he was hiding it. He just also wasn't at his level of fame at the time where people were looking for it or looking for him.
Well, but it was on the guy's website. It wasn't on like
so
anything Drake
anybody
was
in
putting
the
his name behind.
And he put it under Aubrey. That is
and considering how he sounded, so like it was he made it sound like, in the way he responded to it, he made it sound like this was like a passion project that he did back when he was what was he, 32 now, so 20, 21, 22. And I'm just like, if this is a passion project, this is how you always felt, I don't really feel like I've ever heard you say anything about this before. It's like
his career trajectory has changed. His career has changed as well. He's no longer doing so much. When was the last time you saw him for real in a TV or a movie?
But he's still an entertainer, though, and
he is. But he's a different kind of entertainer
with one of the biggest platforms in the world.
But now he's saying he's a different kind of entertainer. An
artist, music. Like, what do you mean?
He's doing music now. He's not. It's a different thing. That. They try to separate it in their whatever their box is. I am, because nobody just goes, I'm an entertainer. Now it's I'm a singer, a dancer, a rapper, I can tap dance on the moon if I want to, like that kind of foolishness. Everybody has extra titles.
But I mean, the thing is, if you stand on that platform, if you stand on a topic like that, that's something that transitions across the board anyway. So it's not like, oh, just because I was acting at this time, this is how I felt directly towards acting. It's like, no, those same discriminations is across the board. So if you feel like that then you should continue to feel like that until a change has been made with that.
I mean...
And which he
when
hasn't.
When you say those same discriminations are across the board, what exactly do you mean?
I mean, just like... well, let me recall what his reason was. He said...
we can Google
the face, yeah, pull it real quick. I'm going to try to go off the top.
He said it was basically to talk about like how black actors or actors of different races that aren't white have more difficulty, I guess, making their way into the industry or like getting the chances that their white counterparts get, basically to kind of
so he has to put on different faces to do what he needs to do.
Specific faces, though.
Right. So
he's doing specific faces in the pictures.
But that's not just with that. Even what's that movie that's coming up, Phenom, with Homeboy when they got to put on that white voice?
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. Like it's the same thing. It's like it's in that particular arena at that time of what he was speaking about, but in different jobs, in different creative projects, and different whenever you want to push or get through to that. Past that barrier of where white America kind of is like, no, you stay here. It's like, no, I want to go further. I want to do more. I want to get past this point. Then that same problem is still there.
And I also feel like...
In any genre, in anything that you want to do.
And I also feel like looking at who pretty much everyone compares you to, if that's really why you were doing it back in the day, then who they compare you to now, the Kendricks and the J. Coles, that would have been a great, like, you definitely could have controlled the narrative of that, because you could have, if you could find a clip or find something and you come out and you say, hey, back when I was in my early 20s, still acting before I got into rapping, this is a photo shoot I did to represent how I feel like America or how I feel like certain people in the industry still see us as black people.
I mean, that is what he said. That's his statement.
I mean, no, that's his statement, but that's his statement now that he's trying to do damage control. Not that he's trying, like, now he's trying to do damage control as opposed to, like I said, with Childish created the narrative. And when you create the narrative, it's easier for people to go along with the narrative that's been created. Like, because Pusha came out with the narrative and set all this in motion, he's doing more damage control. And yes, his diehard fans are all going to be like, oh, well, yeah, this, that, he was young and this and that. And the other people was like, well, you know what? Bill Cosby was young when they said he did stuff to females, and that's coming back to bite him in the ass now. So
I mean, technically, Bill Cosby's almost 80, so he was at least in his 40s when this happened. He wasn't young.
Well, I'm just saying.
We're not playing the white people game where you are a child until you're 75.
Well, I'm not saying a child, but what I'm saying is
we don't get that luxury.
What I'm saying is, I was listening to something I was listening to someone's show on Facebook, and a whole bunch of people that calling in were all saying, this was back in 2007. This is when he was younger. I was like, well, a lot of people have done stuff when they're younger, and it comes back to bite them in the ass when they get older.
I mean, this is true. I don't
because sometimes you
like
just gotta control the narrative.
I'm gonna sound like such a horrible black person, but like
what? Let's do it.
But like, okay, so look,
No controversy.
Wheelchair Jimmy is my favorite. He really is, as Wheelchair Jimmy. Drake, the rapper, is, and my family will tell you that this has been my stance for a while. While I truly do believe that toxic masculinity is horrible for men, y'all should be allowed to show emotions, y'all should be allowed to cry, laugh, do whatever, just like women do. Sometimes Drake is so openly emotional that it just drives me up a fucking wall. And I really don't have a say on, I didn't listen to his diss to Pusha T. I didn't listen to the diss back. I don't really have it feel one way or another. I'm just curious as to the controversy, because I'm curious as to, I guess I'm curious as to why, is it only white people that so nobody's allowed to do blackface, right? This is what the stance is. Nobody, black, white, Asian, should be doing blackface.
I feel like,
or yellow face, or any brown face.
I feel like no one should do it, period. But I feel like if a black person is going to do it, then when you do it, especially if you know that someone took pictures of you,
have a reason.
It was an art project, he says.
I'm saying create the narrative and put it out yourself. But don't hope that no one digs it up in an era in which we see.
It wasn't hidden. Is my confusion? He wasn't out there. But
it wasn't hidden. But
Drake
in 2007
was Wheelchair Jimmy.
It wasn't. It wasn't out there. But you got to think of it like this.
His platform wasn't the same, right?
I mean, but a lot of artists and a lot of celebrities who are famous now, who didn't have their platform now, are going through issues of tweets that they did 5-10 years ago.
They are. And I'm not saying that he should be absolved. I guess it's just the blackface issue that really, and more I just feel like it's because he didn't. I feel like it's because he didn't control the narrative. That's really what it comes down to.
I'm going to say, like, I don't think anyone is necessarily saying that it's wrong, because, like I say, the reason that he gave, it's not a bad reason. It's a project that he had going when he was younger. Like, that's fine. Like, I can accept that. The reason why it's like a big thing now is because the timing, like how you were saying earlier, like the timing in which it's coming out. The world
in which we live in,
and the world in which we live in, and it's coming like after the whole Kanye thing.
Don't get me wrong.
We've already gotten on so many white people for doing blackface.
Right, no, don't get me wrong. Blackface is despicable, and it's not cute, and it's not funny. And every time I see, because you guys know where I work, every time I see some sort of, because I have, they like to, somebody brought up them damn gollywogs from Australia, and how they're not really racist, they're this, and all I wanted to say is that's fucking racist. That's what you think black people look like, or aboriginals, and you're racist every time you talk about it.
What the hell is a gollywog?
Oh my god, it's literally like blackface. You ever seen the little black statues that white people have in their front lawns where he's dressed like a jockey and he's like mowing the lawn?
Yeah,
it's like that, but in Australia.
So what is it? It's like, so it's a statue.
It's a thing. It's a thing. They have it on their candy. They have it on all. They had it. Excuse me. They might not anymore. Let me not throw Australia under the bus. This is a gollywog. It's a black fictional character. That's what they thought black people look like. But he looks like blackface.
Jesus Christ.
Like I said, learn something new every day. Blackface is gross. It's despicable. I just am curious as to the fever pitch that's surrounding it. Is it just that because I don't really pay attention to the beef or whatever.
I do think some of it is because he's mixed and people kind of like. So he identifies as black. Everyone knows this.
So how black do you have to be for it to be okay?
He was exposed. Not
Yeah, that
necessarily
too.
that.
And because,
exposed.
well, no, like I said, I've been online. And I've seen a lot of people like where they're just like, no, it's not cool because he's mixed. Like those are like their exact reasons. I've seen people like in all caps.
Which again,
he can't do it because he's not black. He's biracial. I was like, God damn.
Makes me wonder exactly how black do you have to be black?
Yeah, that's what I was just like. Look, man, I just consider it bad just because, like I said, he didn't like. If that was me, and I knew I had a picture like that, then at some point I would throw it out and I would have some type of. I would be like,
I mean, if that was you, I would hope you wouldn't take that picture.
Well, I wouldn't take the picture, but if I was him, because I explained this to my wife. When she asked about it, like, well, how could you justify that at all? When I was talking about getting ahead of it and trying to control the narrative, I would have been like, hey, guys, at a point in my life, I suffered from like a kind of identity crisis. I felt like even though, and then you can have like a regular picture of Drake, even though this is what I look like and this is what I feel I look like as a black person, I feel like everyone else that looks at me trying to get into this acting or this music business, that's black, sees me like this. I was like, that's how you control. Like, she didn't understand it, but I was just like, the same way a black person can say, I can be in a suit and a tie, I can have a nice haircut, I can drive a nice car, speak very well, but as soon as a cop is in front of me, he might see me as just another Negro with his pants down.
In a hoopty?
Yes. So that's why I tried to. She didn't really get it, but I was like, that's how you control the narrative. You can say, I want to be seen as this, whatever a regular picture of Drake would be, but I feel like a lot of times the response I'm getting,
but I think he said he wants to be seen as a black man.
Well, no,
he identifies as a black man.
Oh yeah, I know that. I was just giving an example of how you can control the narrative before this turns into an issue.
Well, real quick, remember the context and all this is taking place. This is hip hop.
Yes,
this is a rap beef. That's why I was saying
this is aiming for the throat.
Yeah, that's why I was saying.
He brought up his mother too, right? Like,
he brought up a lot of stuff.
So
I know he brought up the baby mama. I'm ignoring that.
No, so rule number one of a rap battle: if you're just gonna go at somebody, go at somebody. But you're not supposed to name anybody you're not supposed to throw out any names of someone like they're in a relationship with.
What did his mother do to anybody?
No, so this is what happened. So in Drake's freestyle, he has some line in which he says Pusha T's fiance's name. Mm-hmm. And in a rap battle, once you cross the line and go into family and stuff like that, all bets are off. So Pusha was just like,
in pop music, you just sing vaguely about how he broke your heart or she broke your heart, and you don't have to worry about these things.
Pusha said, all right, you know what?
Drake tried to get away with that pop music. He tried to go into that realm.
I mean,
he got pulled right back in.
Or you be Beyonce and you just say it's just not really.
Your daddy left you and your mama when you was 5. Your mama ain't never get married. Now you want to put your daddy in Steve Harvey suits and parade him around everywhere.
Hey, look, Push didn't even have to rhyme, but he did anyway because it's rap. He could have just said all that stuff with music playing in the background, and it'd have still been like,
he could have just did it as an Instagram live.
Yeah, he could have just did an Instagram live. Yeah.
I guess I just don't understand the rules because, like, again, what his mother didn't get married, okay, and
it's just
the exposure of the Drake that you don't know.
Well, that part right there was supposed to lead into that part right there was supposed to lead up into once you find out about the kid. He's trying to say, like, yeah, your dad left you and your mom when you was 5, and it was trying to show.
Everybody acts like this is news.
And guess what you do?
I am fairly certain, and I have to double. In my household, we've been talking about how Drake's had a baby mama for years. No. For a minute. Your sister's talked to me about this multiple times.
Yeah, she knew. Like, when I was giving a rise. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not on this man's nuts. I don't stay on social media to look up. When I'm on social media, I just look at funny videos and I look at sports podcasts. That's pretty much it. Everybody who knows all this other shit, I was like, if I don't hear it from someone else, like, I don't know. And that's pretty much what it is. Right, so it's like, for me, it was a shock because
I feel like you are way better than me on social media.
Also, I'd like to put out here that all these people
Instagram models all day.
Comedy and
Also, I feel like a lot of the people who are trying to drag him for his quote unquote baby mama, y'all don't know what he's done for her. You're assuming based on what a man has said.
But that's what made it great because.
And maybe he just wanted to keep her private.
You can be a deadbeat in 2 different ways.
Yes, you can.
You can just straight abandon your family, or you can still financially take care of your family and still
not be
a
there.
deadbeat.
But that's
I know very well that you can be a deadbeat in more than ways than one.
Because someone was just like, he didn't want the kid. It's like, so don't be nutting nobody raw then.
I mean, I don't think that's true. Seeing as how I believe that it's come out now based on what I've seen on
And then they say
entertainment media that he
DNA
actually
test?
does take care. He gives her money every
but
month,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
he's been seen with her repeatedly, not in like it's a one-off, but repeatedly. She's one of those girls that you don't really see her up close. It's always from a distance, and you're like, who's that chick Drake is with? But it's when you look at the pictures, it's the same girl.
It's like you see Drake.
So he's been
like in the
he's
background.
been seeing her enough since the baby's been born, but
I mean,
he hasn't had time to take a DNA test.
I mean, maybe he just doesn't.
Like
He's got a very distinct look, so I'm almost certain that that child came out and he said, "Oh yeah, that's mine."
I'm just a little confused because once again, online people are like, "Well, he does send her money, and he's going to get a DNA test to see if it's his. So if it's not his, that means he was giving her money for a kid that wasn't his." I was like,
I mean, isn't that what they said Chris Brown did too?
But
though
I was just like, but wasn't this kid born in October? It's May. Why is it taking you what is this 8 months?
Well, it could be a legal situation too, which means you then have to go through a lawyer
for a DNA test.
Uh-huh.
And this is why I say Pusha killed it, man. Because of the
You
fact
can go
that everybody,
online.
not just us, but everybody else is talking about this. That means Drake had things that he has to answer for. Not that he was wrong.
I mean,
not that he's not taking care of his child.
Does he have to answer for them?
He did, which means he felt he had to.
I personally would have been like,
that's what makes this beef so good.
And it threw a monkey wrench into some things because I don't know how true this is, but one of the things that I kept hearing is that one of the lines that Push said is basically he was saying, all this time we didn't know about your son, but now I guess Drake has some deal with Adidas and he was supposed to be doing a clothing line or something with Adidas, and apparently that was going to be Drake's big rollout or introduction with the child, and it's like, well, Push it and kind of mess that up because now think about it. Now every time you think of the name, which is
if you don't think Adidas has better marketing people than Pusha T can handle, you must not be paying attention.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Because if you don't think they can spin that,
I didn't. No,
Black Twitters too.
I didn't say that
they don't have.
I didn't say that it completely blew up. I said it threw a monkey wrench. Because think about it, if you spend all this money and time marketing stuff or designing
but that's
these clothes,
also going off the assumption that
designing this line that's supposed to be called Adidon. Well, guess what? Now, when people think Adidon, one of the first things they think of is just a picture of Drake and Blackface.
Ooh, that's good.
I'm not gonna lie, I took that from the Brilliant Idiots.
That's good.
I'll give Andrew Schultz
I have
his
no
props.
comment because I like I said I didn't pay attention.
Like I said, you can definitely bounce back from that, but it's just one of those things. It's like it had to throw some.
Roseanne bounced back from her racist tweets and had a show revived.
I mean, Roseanne
lasted
bounced back
a few
from
episodes.
being dressed as Hitler with cookies.
As a Jew.
Yes,
as
Hitler.
a Jew. Excuse me, as a Jewish person, Jew is not the right term I want to use, but as somebody who ethnically is Jewish, she decided that was a cute look. That was comedy, though.
Yeah,
that was funny. I don't know. I don't know. Drake could probably bounce back. I've seen his fan base. I live with one of his fans. He's gonna be
it'll blow over.
Yeah, I'm not saying
if he doesn't say anything else.
It's not other than some memes and people talking about shit online. This isn't going to affect anything. Niggas is still going to go out and buy his album.
They are.
Every female is still going to hashtag everything he says in their Instagram stories.
People still showed up to Kanye West's album party.
Yeah.
He dragged the black community through the dirt, and people still decided that they wanted to go and listen to his
album
albums.
is not better than Push's.
I mean, also he decided he thought it would be cute to buy. He thought it would be cute to use Whitney's the place where Whitney Houston died as an album cover. Or
Bobby
inside
Brown
now.
is mad about that, by the way.
It's disrespectful. And here's the thing: whether it shows her in the bathtub or not, she does still have living family. It's disrespectful. Also, you know what? I'm sorry.
I'm not offended.
Hold on. You're also.
I don't really feel for it.
Okay, you watch Supernatural. You know damn well you're not supposed to play with things where people die because the ghosts are coming to get you.
It'd be different if.
Nope.
It would be different if there was a. It'd be different if it was a picture of her body. It'd be different if it was.
I'm
if you
just
could see
saying.
Something.
I've watched enough scary
All you saw was
shows.
a picture of a bathroom of a drug user. I guarantee you, if he used a picture of an alley
of his own bathroom.
If he used a picture of an alley where a whole bunch of crackheads have done drugs and died. Guess what?
It might
have offended the family of people who have.
I'm not saying that.
Was my mother and I'd feel.
I'm not getting mad at the picture. I'm not getting mad at the picture of the bathroom.
Only living child is that.
Yeah. No,
but I will say this:
if it was a picture of the person, that'd be different. But
I'm not talking about the drug issue in it. I'm talking about You have brought that is a ghost that is gonna follow you. You gonna now
That's
your
a
house is
duppy.
haunted.
That's a duppy.
Yep.
that he
That's
has
now your
brought
fucking
to
house
his
is haunted.
household.
That's not a ghost.
I ain't
And
playing
to-
with
and
that.
to everybody
Cross
that's
yourself every
listening to the
time.
album,
I watched
that's a
I
duppy
watched
that they brought
Supernatural.
to
They
their
have to have some
household.
type of emotional connection to the
You don't
item.
think she had an emotional connection
her
to that
bathroom?
death, to that bathroom where she
To the
died? She was in the
bathroom?
bathtub.
To
She was
the
getting
bathroom?
comfy.
The place
Oh,
where she
was the bathtub in the picture?
I don't know. I
No,
didn't see
all
it.
you saw was a sink and a mirror.
You don't think she had an
couldn't see a
emotional connection to
reflection
them
in the mirror.
drugs? Anyway,
All I'm saying
Anyway.
is, I'm sorry. You can get mad and people can be upset. I understand why they're upset, but
I'm
I
just
personally
saying.
don't care why you're upset because it's like
you don't mess with the juju.
it's a pitch. It's a picture. I'm sorry. It's a picture that doesn't have her in it. It does like all it shows is just how bad things can get for anybody at any time.
Or maybe he's making a personal statement about himself with that picture.
I mean, he could be, but I mean, when your artist is a rapper who primarily raps about the drug game, and there's a picture out there of the consequences of drugs.
There's a lot of other pictures he could have used.
I mean, it's a lot of other pictures you can use, but
Wait, can I also
hold
sidebar
on.
you?
So just because there's a lot of other pictures you can use, those other pictures could offend other people the exact same way. Like I said, if he took a picture of an alley where crackheads go to shoot up, or a dope fiends
Do
go to
we
shoot
know
up,
these
and
crackheads'
no,
names?
but
Do I
it
have
doesn't.
any form of attachment to these crackheads at all?
But guess what?
Somebody might.
Someone
Somebody might know
no.
these
It's not
crackheads.
someone might. Someone does.
Someone knows these
Someone
crackheads?
does. Someone does because they were part of someone's family, or they were known, they were a friend, they were a colleague, they were something. So
Or, I'll tell you what, I'll give you that argument. He could have recreated he could have just recreated one. He could have just created one. He could have just made an original set just full of whatever he had in his
could have
mind,
created
and
one,
then
but like
to where
you
it
did in
didn't
the
offend
first
anybody.
episode of defending Kanye, he's a free thinker.
Is
And
he?
so his free thought is I'm
'Cause-
going to
hey, look.
connect to people in a way with something that they've seen before.
Have we? No, for real. And then this is just a general question. Have we?
Touche, motherfucker.
Yes,
No,
that's
I'm sorry.
No, I really.
that picture was taken like what 2000. That picture
No,
was
and I'll
taken
be honest,
sold,
look.
that picture was
Look.
taken and sold to the National
Hold on.
Enquirer.
I'll be honest. When Whitney died, my
that was a
household was
public
really
picture?
really
yes,
upset.
that was a public picture.
I
They
take it all
didn't
back.
Wait,
They-
so I'm
Kanye
asking.
didn't
No,
pay,
wait.
Kanye didn't pay Whitney Houston's estate for that
I'm
picture
genuinely
because
asking.
Whitney Houston's people did not own that picture.
Wait, I'm genuinely asking because
Yeah, I take it all
when
back.
Whitney died, my household was deeply, deeply upset. Like deeply upset. I
Word?
grew up. Yeah, I love Whitney.
oh yeah, that's how her mom bonded.
You know,
Word?
seriously, no. There's sidebar story. There's a time where my cousin, once upon a time when I was little, was taking me to like Six Flags in New Jersey, and this is not a humble brag at all, but I'm singing along to. This is when you still had a tape, so she put in the Whitney Houston tape, and I am belting Whitney Houston like it is like I know her struggle and her pain. Felt it in my, and I had to be like 7. Felt it in my heart. So yes, when Whitney died, we were really upset. We were really sad. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Especially because she seemed to be like she was doing an Amy Winehouse, kind of up on the upswing, trying to make it back, trying to save herself, and I was just so sad. So no, I really didn't know that it was a public picture because I didn't watch any of that. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a public
Yeah,
picture.
it was a public. It
But
was a
can I
public
also
picture.
can I segue real quick into the fucking merchandise for this goddamn album that he has? Looks like something Miley Cyrus was trying to have you
He had
wear out at
merchandise?
Coachella. Yes, it's this ugly pink shirt that says Wyoming on it with some things that look like the planets. I don't know. This looks like something I painted at Girl Scout camp.
Have you not seen Kanye's clothing
This
line?
looks like something I
His
painted
shirts
at Girl
normally
Scout camp.
His shirts just normally look like shit that you find at the thrift store that he just took scissors to.
Also,
Yeah, put a couple holes in them.
Like-
Boom.
I don't know.
Kanye
People would pay $400
Is this his
for
hippie?
this.
This is his Coachella look? I don't understand.
Hey.
I'm not paying $400 for that. I will make that. I will go to Michael's today and buy the puff paint for my sweatshirt and make that for $15.
Hey,
not
I know
even.
people that spend $100 for a pair of jeans that got paint on them. I'm just like, I can do that shit myself with some Old Navy
And I
jeans.
actually have you get those Old Navy jeans on sale right now. They're like $15. What? What?
I'm like,
And I
fuck
can
that.
throw some paint on it from a distance. Yes.
Even if I had money, my clothing you wouldn't be able to tell by the way I dress.
If you've noticed, most really wealthy people, while their clothing is well made and it lasts for a while, it usually does
looks
not.
like some cheap shit.
It doesn't scream money. That's the name of the game.
But yeah, anyway, yes, I understand why Bobby's upset. I can understand that. I can kind of understand why people in the family might be upset. But even her
everybody outside the family.
But her nephew was even just like, if you want to get mad at somebody, get mad at the person that took the picture. Get mad at the person that took the opportunity to sell the picture to the National Enquirer.
I mean,
back then while we were
I'm
grieving.
not so much mad as I just think you brought a ghost into your house.
He said, if what's her name, Sissy Houston? He's like, if she ain't out here screaming bloody murder, then guess what?
Yeah, I should chill.
He like, for the most part, the close people in the family, we ain't freaking out. We ain't freaking out the way this cousin is freaking out. Bobby, a little different. I can kind of understand Bobby a little bit more.
Like I said, I'm not
it reminds him
offended.
of his wife and being reminded
And
of
his
your
daughter?
wife. Yeah, I was about to say, Bobby, I can see a little bit more. But at the same time, I mean, Kanye could have just put up a picture of Whitney, and
like I
it could
said,
have reminded Bobby of
when
everything.
he needs to call Sam and Dean, and they'll come and get that ghost out of his bathroom.
I can get that shit for half the price. All I need is some salt, some iron,
Epsom salt.
Yeah,
Because, like,
I just need salt, iron. I need
Frankincense and myrrh.
I'm gonna have to dig up somebody's
wait.
grave. And
I'll even take it to another level. I'm not even going to say supernatural. I have read the picture of Dorian Gray. You playing with some stuff with that.
Oh, that is my favorite story of all time.
You playing with some bad juju. I'm going to pray for you. That's all I got to say.
Hey, real quick sidebar. So Whitney Houston's death, that impacted you and your family pretty hard.
I mean, I wouldn't say my impacted it. It was very sad. And it's one of those things. So music is a thing in my house. And it's very sad. Like, it's not that you can't listen to it, but like you listen to certain songs now and you're just like, oh man, Prince, you listen to certain songs and it's a heartbreak moment.
Yeah.
listen to that Purple Rain solo.
And I'll be honest, like early 2000 me was in, Amy Winehouse was one of the things in my life where I was like, oh, love her.
Yeah.
Like I loved her voice. And when she was gone, there are still times I have the whole Back to Black album somewhere. I don't listen to it in full because there are just such vulnerable moments that she has in that album that it rings a little too close to home. Mm-hmm. Even with living artists, Corinne Bailey Rae has a song about her husband who passed away due to drugs, and it's so emotional to listen to. I think she's crying in the song, and it's such an emotional moment that it's like, I can't listen to this. I feel like I've intruded on something. So yes, Whitney Houston's death was really hard because there's moments where I listen to her music and I'm like, you can hear it.
Right.
You can hear whatever struggle she might have been having. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I almost feel like I've trespassed in a private moment. But then music is one of the few things that I actually do. I'm all about to a certain point.
What about you, Phenom? You got an artist that passed away that hit you when they left?
I say the one that probably hit me the most was probably the most recent when Chester.
Oh yeah.
That one right there, because like Linkin Park was like my shit. Like back in the day when my parents wouldn't let me buy CDs and listen to certain music, and I just remember like in daycare during the summertime.
Your daycare though, right? Like you weren't in daycare. Specify that you weren't in daycare.
No, this was when. No, my mother worked at a daycare.
Thank you, because it definitely sounded like you were saying.
No,
at
we
daycare.
know that.
No,
right, we know, but you might need to clarify.
Well, let me clarify. My mother worked at a daycare, and the schools around that daycare were better than the schools in my area. So instead of just catching a bus to the schools in my area, I would just go to my mother's job at the daycare, and I would, go to school that way. And during the summertime, she didn't want me in the house all the time by myself, so she'd take me with her on the days that they were doing stuff like going to Kings Dominion or water parks, pools, stuff like that. And so one of the guys there, he was maybe like 24, 25, and in the car listening, he was just like, you mind cussing? You mind this? You mind that? Man, play whatever. And he put in that Linkin Park, and I just remembered the first time I heard Paper Cut. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh shit, I love this song. Like, and for
my
the most
mom
part,
liked to call it my angsty teenage emo music.
I mean, that's what it was. Like during that time,
like Numb is still
during the early albums,
yeah, because they were growing with you.
Yeah,
and it was just one of those things where it was like, I don't feel like I've ever had another band or group or artist connect with me on that type of level where it's just like, I understand sometimes this rage that you feel when it comes to certain situations. I understand what it's like when you say it's right beneath the surface, consuming you, because there were times just where like I just always felt like I like had rage or anger and like bubbling up, and I'd like try to suppress it, but it's just like it's right there, and I know it doesn't take much to light the fuse. And so that one did hit me. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it was more so too that I mean, like Linkin Park was amazing for me. It was, my mother wasn't far off. It was my angsty teenage emo music. It was definitely, I mean, you're having an argument, you're upset, you turn that up real loud, and Numb was just there, and it was a great song, and it's still a great song.
Like for me, I love songs where you share your pain with me, because it just reaches me. It reaches me.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's...
like I understand everyone, I want to get lit. Oh, this song has so much energy. Yeah, that's fine, but I can just sit in my car and just I'll listen to Hollywood Undead, Linkin Park, and I'll just sit back and just like, man, just to think of the place that you probably have to be in to come up with something like this. Well, I hope that it gets better for whoever was feeling that way.
And I mean, when you
at
also
that
take
time.
into account that I think with Chester, it was a clear sign too that, you know, mental health and the battle against for your mental stability is always ongoing.
Yeah.
Because you would think that based on his fame, his money, he had everything.
Well, I also know the death of was it the suicide of Chris Cornell? That was something that affected him, and I can understand why, because I didn't really listen to him, but I do know the one song I will never forget. This man's song, or a verse of his. It said, "Promise me you won't let them put out your fire."
I mean, I think it's just one of those things where if you're both struggling especially when it comes to mental illness, when you are struggling and you found somebody who shares that struggle, if they lose, you feel like you can't do it either.
Yep. And he made a lot of people for a long time feel like.
And I mean, he did. He at least made a lot of people for a long time feel like you weren't alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Which was great. Even, you know.
Well,
even
for me,
if
when
you
I say
didn't,
win, I just mean don't.
No. But I mean, even if you didn't feel, even if you didn't relate to every situation he was singing about, it was definitely one of those things. I mean, there are artists now where I'm like, I listen and I'm like, oh, this resonates so deeply with me.
Yeah, I don't really have that now.
I mean, you probably won't listen to it, but
for me, I just don't feel like going out to try to find.
But like
anymore.
Kesha's recent album is kind of amazing, especially because it's another. For me, it's one of those where she's clearly talking in certain songs about overcoming some of her mental health issues, and it's not like, oh my God, I'm cured. It's amazing. It's no, this is a struggle. But I realize that there are certain things that I can be positive about, and like, her new song, her new video for him, it's a great song.
Is Kesha that girl that Seinfeld stiff arm when she tried to give him a hug?
She's like, "Can I give you a hug?" No.
Yeah, he didn't know who she was. He
she's
was
the
like,
one that's being sued now by Dr. Luke too. So.
What's she getting sued for?
She tried to.
That was her manager, right, or something.
That was her producer, and who mistreated her and assaulted her sexually, and
he's suing her.
So the court, she tried to get out of her record deal, and part of suing him and coming forward because she kind of helped spark the early Me Too wave, I guess is what one could say. Okay.
Yeah, I remember this.
She tried to get out of her record deal because he signed her on his Kemosabe whatever to a certain amount of deals, a certain amount of albums.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you're young, they fuck you over.
Right, when you're young and you're desperate and allegedly you're also under the influence of quite a few drugs that he's giving you, so he can do what he wishes to you. You do whatever you have to do. So she signed a few papers, and she's like, no, but I don't want to be stuck here because you have allegedly violated me in innumerable ways. The judge ruled that she didn't have, I believe,
enough evidence or something.
Either enough evidence, although that's iffy. Allegedly. More so, I think they ruled that she didn't have the right to get out of her record contract. I think she could do a civil case against him for the other abuses, but the record deal, I think they're like, well, contractually you're bound. She was like, no, I'm not. Not doing it. I'm doing my own thing, making my own album. He's now suing because he wants, this album has been critically acclaimed, and I believe she won a Grammy for it.
Breach of contract.
Yeah. And now he wants money.
Same thing with Future and Rocco.
I mean, it's also, though, he's lost apparently some of his
He's
clients.
probably lost. Yeah, I would say he's probably lost other
Especially
artists. 'Cause
after
this is not
Kelly
a good look
Clarkson
for you.
came out and was like, I'll never work with him.
Yeah,
And I mean, she's,
man.
Lady Gaga. I mean, female
Damn, he
artists.
lost Lady Gaga.
Female artists, I think Katy Perry's still with him, but female artists that have some
Well,
sort of
she ain't
sway.
Right.
So,
Lady Gaga has a lot of.
but like her album,
worldwide sway.
it's actually really good. I'll give it to her. You did this on your own, girl. Good for
There you have it. What we're listening to right now.
Yeah. Oh, also Janelle Monáe, but I'll forever be listening to Janelle Monáe. That album is amazing.
All right, man. So, do we have anything else we want to touch on?
Yeah, I
real
want to
quick?
talk about the artists that impacted my life when they passed.
We did kind of just
Can
skip
I?
somebody.
You know?
Oh, I just thought he was gonna talk about Prince.
Of course, I'm gonna talk about Prince. Why wouldn't I talk about Prince?
I mean, how could you not?
I love that man.
Those assless chaps, it's a thing.
Oh man.
That man was so depressed on his 2K character, he put Rip Prince on his back.
Hey, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all.
Oh.
No, Prince was a big deal for me. When I was younger, my mother gave me 2 tapes back when we had cassette tapes.
We're so old.
We're so old. And those tapes were Michael Jackson, and the other one was Prince. And I think it was like Prince.
2 equally good artists, though.
It was the Purple Rain on cassette, the album or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would listen. I would try. I was a kid. I didn't listen to them both equally. For some reason, I leaned more towards Prince. Michael Jackson's great.
It was that rock and roll sound that pulled you in.
That's what it is.
I think that's exactly what it was. Like, it is like. This is how I described it to. Well, this is how I described it to people. So when I was younger, Michael Jackson and Prince taught me certain things. Michael Jackson taught me more so like the innocence of life, and then Prince taught you that like, hey, when you grow up, this is what it is.
Be a freak.
Yeah.
Be a freak.
it's just this is real life. This is what it is. Like, hey, Mike got that innocence part. I'm gonna give it to you how it really is. There's a lot of sex involved. All right. There's a lot of just being.
For some people.
Yeah, for some people, yeah. But it was like just his whole energy about him, from back then all the way up until he passed. It was just like he had this calm about him, like he was always in control of whatever it is that he.
Yeah, he did have that energy.
Yeah, and to me that was beautiful.
I mean, did you see what he liked to wear? He had to have a certain
That
swag
energy
about
was-
him.
that
And
energy was
I'm
great,
not
man.
I'm not judging. I
'cause-
thought Prince had great style. I mean,
Because it's like no matter what, you could just always, like, whether you're watching him on TV, you could just always feel it. I remember when he was on the episode of New Girl, and you could still just
that's my favorite. That's my favorite episode.
I'm
That's my favorite episode.
I'm actually like rewatching it because I fell off at like season 2. So we're just in my house. We're just at season 2, episode 2.
Wait till they get to Prince house, because it's on a level where you're just like, you see, what's her name, Zoe and Hannah when they meet him, and like the way they're in awe, and you just kind of look at it, it's like, nah, this isn't acting. I guarantee you, they're in legit awe.
Is it like how I feel how
mesmerized.
the guy who plays Nick is not really acting? He's just saying whatever comes into his head at any given moment.
I do feel like
Because I was watching, because every time I watch him and I'm like, I don't think he has any real script. I think they just said, say the weirdest shit you
like,
can
who
think
the hell
of.
would
There's
write
no
this?
way, right? There's no way someone can script
Right, I'm
this
like,
one.
Give me a cookie, got you cookies.
I feel like they just gave him a blank piece of paper that said, say the weirdest shit you could think of every time we talk to you. And so he did. And at some
believe
point,
it
I feel like
because in
Schmidt
most
gets
of the
there
movies
too.
he's in, that's what it feels like he does a lot.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So that's just like, to me that was beautiful, man. Like that type of energy. That's the type of energy that like I want to like emulate, just like in my own life. But when I found out that he passed, I was working at some car dealership or something like that, auto body shop, and I was delivering parts out of state. And I'm on the road, long periods of time. So periodically I would check my phone and, see what's going on Instagram, whatever, what have you. And all I go on Instagram and it's like, oh, R.I.P. Prince. And I see these pictures and I'm like, yeah, right. Like in my head. Yeah, because I'm like, the first thing I thought, how they say stuff like that with Jackie Chan. And they'll be like, oh, Jackie Chan's dead. And you'll be like, no, he's not. And you look
I'm
it
not
up.
gonna lie. I was at work and we had just started walking into a meeting when I saw the news, and like as soon as everyone sat down, I said, just so everyone knows, so you're not caught off guard when we leave this meeting, Prince has died.
You just ruined everybody's day
You
right
did.
then and there.
You messed up the whole meeting.
Right.
That's what
Whole
you did.
meeting. Nobody could concentrate.
My team lead cried after the meeting.
No, because I was in my car like you, and I turned on because I don't know where I saw it.
I feel like,
but I turned on the radio, and the radio host was crying. Like she was openly crying.
Yeah,
and I was just
it's
like,
something about like when it's sudden, because like when Michael passed, I was sad when Michael passed, but at the time, me and you worked at that place, so we were in a building.
What, Comcast?
Yeah, Comcast.
Isn't it called Xfinity now? Because every time I see the commercials, they're saying Xfinity.
Nah, they still want you to know Comcast runs shit. Xfinity is just what the cable is now.
Oh, okay.
I see.
But yeah,
It's very
like they had,
confusing.
they had like all the TVs on CNN because that's when he was rushed to the hospital. So we're watching this for hours, and in my head, I was like, he's probably gonna pass. So I kind of prepared myself a little bit more for Mike, but Prince, it was just like I literally just picked up my phone before I walked in the meeting because I knew I wasn't gonna get no signal. I was like, let me check my alerts real
Prince
quick.
is dead.
I was like, what the? That's it.
Yo, I'm driving.
I
mind
think
you.
it's especially that Prince's death was preventable.
Yeah.
In that,
Well, before because the
Michael's death was
the
definitely
shot.
preventable.
I mean, Michael's
shot
was,
killed
but
me.
Prince was definitely if you, there was a holdup in him getting the hip treatment,
Yeah, that
the hip replacement, which in turn led to him abusing the medication he had been given for his pain. So, like, I think it was especially, whereas Michael, I can't remember what happened with Michael, but Prince was definitely like,
It was those sleeping. It was them
You
drugs
could've-
that he used to sleep with Michael.
Oh yeah.
Prince, it was like, oh, but this, if you had just gotten that hip taken care of, this would have, we'd
Yeah,
have
you'd
another
be
10,
still-
10 20 more years with you. You
Yeah.
could still be making music.
Yo, I'm gonna try to breeze through this. Yo, I pulled over to the side of the road and I called my mom up and she's like, you okay? What's wrong? And I'm like, Prince is dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh baby, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I was like, why ain't nobody call me? Why ain't nobody tell me? Why I had to find this out for myself? But look, that's one conversation, one of two people I spoke to after that. So I talked to her, and she realized I had to like calm me down. I'm on the shoulder of the highway. She had to like calm me down. I'm like, all right, I'm cool. So I'm gonna call up this other person, real close friend of mine, and I call her up. And I tell her, she answers the phone. She's real excited. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it? And then she's like, wait, what's wrong? And I'm like, yo, Prince is dead. And she's like, oh.
This is not
I'm
what I was
sorry.
excited about.
Yeah, she's like, I'm sorry to hear that. But my sister just got proposed to.
Oh.
And I was like, who the fuck proposes on Prince's death? What jackass?
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you, but I'm laughing at you.
I was upset. Because I was like, hold on. When he was like out in the streets before he came home, he didn't listen to the radio and realize Prince just passed away.
It's not a good moment to propose.
Yeah, maybe I should hold off until tomorrow.
He like maybe he figured that if she was sad, that would cheer her up.
Oh man, I was disgusted.
He's like, I was thinking about doing this anyway, but
But like,
I was disgusted.
real quick, music wise, I mean, I've been sad, like with Whitney and Amy Winehouse, I was sad, but like the most deeply affected me was honestly when Lee Thompson Young died.
he's the famous Jet Jackson.
Because
He came into. I was working at a restaurant in Atlanta, and he came a week
was
before.
he as beautiful in person as he is on
was
TV?
gorgeous.
I love him.
He was
I loved
gorgeous.
him.
Don't
laugh.
I met him. We talked. I
I
shook
have
his
to
hand
laugh.
and
Oh my
everything.
God, no.
Wait,
Wait.
he was gorgeous.
Oh my God, no.
Oh no, yeah, he
You don't
was a
understand.
good-looking guy.
When Jet Jackson first premiered on Disney, he was like groundbreaking because he was like the first live action black kid who have his own show before Raven Simone and all that. And I just was like,
Yep.
I can remember like I had to be like 11 and I sat there every day after school.
When Disney did the monthly
Yes.
original movies, and you found out there was a Jet Jackson
Oh my
one.
God.
This goes to show my age.
I watched
had
every
a
single
blank
one.
VCR. I had a blank VCR, and I recorded that Jet Jackson
I watched
movie.
every episode of the Jet Jackson show. I watched the movie. He was in like the Johnny Tsunami movie. I watched both. I watched those two just for him. When he showed up on as Cyborg,
Jake 2.0.
I was like, when he showed up on Smallville as Cyborg, I almost had a heart attack because he had been away from my television, and I thought, oh my God, like I literally though when I found out he was dead, like I was devastated, and when I found out why, I literally was like, I'm done. There is no. That's it. That's all I needed was to know that Lee Thompson Young was out there living his best, beautiful black man life, and now he's not, and I'm so disappointed and sad.
I had met him a week before he passed, and hearing that he passed, I was like I knew it was nothing to do with his experience at the restaurant and me talking something like that. I was like, damn man, was there something I could have said to him that could have prevented this? Like, what if I had only known? Like, I went through that.
I felt like I thought his family's response was kind of beautiful in that they were like, he just could not get past his, not beautiful, but almost as somebody who does deal with some depression issues, the idea that he couldn't get past his own demons is deeply, deeply upsetting to me. Mm. And it's so sad. And I'm, your fangirl heart, you're like, oh man, if only I could have met you. We could have fought this together. And of course, this is the dumbest thing you've ever thought to yourself. But it's like, I would look, if I could have Lee Thompson Young, I would have met him, and yes, like you, what could I have said?
That's how it was.
Oh my God. But that's who affected me the most.
So for all of our genius listeners out there, when you finally find a way to invent time travel, let Brown know so A, she can save Lee Thompson Young, B, let Sirius know so he can go back and tell Prince to stop fucking around.
Oh wait, no, if you invent time travel, I need you to take me back
and
to
I just want to buy some Microsoft stock.
I mean, that'd be nice, but I need you to take me back to like the prehistoric or crustacean era. I told you I need to see a dinosaur. We talked about this.
So really, we're going to end this podcast on Brown telling us how badly she wants to get eaten by a velociraptor.
Not a velociraptor. That's a pet.
Like while getting eaten, she's like, "This is horrible, but this is kind of cool at the same time."
I just want to see a brontosaurus or a brachiosaurus. I have very
so
specific
upset because she doesn't have self-service to selfie this.
You're right.
I mean, look, I want to see a brachiosaurus, a brontosaurus, a triceratops. I have very specific land before time based dinosaur love.
Of a T-Rex.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. They're kind of slow. As long as I can get a good distance away, they're kind of slow. See, also, the noise they said they made was more like a squawk.
Was it a squawk? I heard it was like a hum.
A squawk or a hum, one of those. So, I'm not, that's not striking fear. But you stay out of the water. Because that shark, that megalodon, no, I'm not here for that.
Littlefoot going to step on you. Sarah going to go ahead and gorge you. Spike is going to probably just knock you out right after he goes to sleep.
He has spikes on his tail, so he'd probably gore me too. It would be very horrible.
Ducky, I don't know what Ducky going to do.
She had teeth, I think.
And Petrie going to go.
Have teeth.
No, not Ducky herself, but with the full-size thing had teeth.
And Petrie just going to lift you up in the air for a fly, and then you're going to get too heavy,
and then feed me to his
like,
babies.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that's how. Look,
so every bad thing that could happen in that scenario
will happen.
But dinosaurs. Like, you guys, you have your anime, you have your everything, your supernatural weirdness.
Supernatural's great.
Dinosaurs.
13 seasons, running to 14.
Just dinosaurs. Like, that's all I need.
And there you have it, people. Just dinosaurs. And with that right there, we're going to wrap this show up. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of KBK Present. On behalf of my host, Phenom, that's me, Brown.
That's me.
And Sirius. That's me.
We'd like to thank you and catch us out next week.
Bye.
Peace out.